Welcome to my linear regression example tutorial. I'm going to run two of these, one without XL minor and one with XL minor. This is the one without XL minor. So you can see we're looking at hours spent studying versus math SAT scores, and we have a list of questions to help us get through the things that we want to think about. So first off, we want to ask who is the explanatory or the independent variable and who is the response or the dependent variable. If you have time as one of your variables, that's almost always the explanatory or the independent variable. In sheets, to build the scatter plot, you always want to have your explanatory or independent variable over here on the left, which is how I have mine set up. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm just going to highlight my two columns, and we're going to go insert chart. And Sheets changed how they did charts, so be careful when you're building your scatter plot. Sorry, just bring this over here. Come back, little chart. I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so the first off, I have a line chart and I don't want that. I want a scatter plot. So notice that I'm over in the chart editor and I'm at the data section. If you accidentally get rid of the chart editor, you can either double click on this, which that's irritating, but you're looking for those little three dots right there, and that'll make that'll tell you things that you can do. So edit chart. All right, so again, I want to change it. I want to change it to a scatter plot. And now notice what it did. It separated my data into two different points. If you come across this, it's because it's not letting you use column B as labels, and it's choosing column B and not column A because I have mine moved over to the side because I'm going to put some notes over here in column A. So in case you're wondering why it's saying that, whereas yours is probably scooted over and it's saying using column A. It's just choosing the column on the left. And so what that's doing is you can see right here that it's taking the hours and it's using the hours as a horizontal label. The other thing that you might come across is you might come across the problems of aggregating. So if I aggregate column B, notice that my horizontal numbers are no longer in order. And what that's doing is that it's allowing the numbers to show up in the order that they came in. We don't want that. We want the numbers to be along the number line. So we've got the numbers along the number line. You can also, if you mess up, but then that, oh my goodness, I thought I got rid of that and apparently I didn't, sorry. All different things. These buttons can really lead to a lot of weirdness. The other thing you might do is you might go into customize and change some things up. So for example, if you feel like you're missing out on some data, you could go to your vertical axis and you could make your maximum value 850. I don't know why I changed it. That's really weird that I made it 850 and now it's at 1,000. Who knows what's going on inside of Google? Oh, there we go. So it picked 1,000. I kind of liked it at 1,000. There we go. That's lovely. Okay, so I can see. This one, remember, it's not called an outlier. It's called an influencer because it's vertically far away and not horizontally far away. But we can still treat it the other way around to see if it's working. Sorry, my voice has been coming and going. There we go. Now it's back. We could also change our horizontal axis with min and max values. So our maximum, we could go all the way up to 30. If you hear that weird sound, that's my dog. Sorry. She's just excited. Okay, so there we go. It's kind of a preference of how you want it to look. So there's my scatter plot. Next thing we're asked to do is find the trend line. So I guess I shouldn't have gotten rid of this. I want to edit my charts more. Again, you need to go to customize. Remember, trend line, line of best fit, the least squared residual line. There's so many words for it. Regression. The other thing is a series. So right here, series, you're going to want to click the arrow down to open this up. And what you're going to notice is that in the series, this shows up, and you can put your trend line on it. And then all of a sudden, once you click trend line, there's a whole bunch more that pops up. So we want it to be linear. There's other ones that you can do, but that's all that we're working with in class. And then we can change our label. So it's the label for the trend line, and you can customize it, but that won't give you your equation. So you can go down and use equation. And now there's the equation. If you hit show R squared, you're going to get your corollary coefficient squared. And we can use this to get our corollary coefficient. So we drew our scatter plot. We found the trend line. We added it to the scatter plot. We want to make sure that it passes through. So D is to make sure, because we're rounding these values of B0 and B1, we want to make sure that we've rounded it. We've rounded it in a way that makes sense for the data. That because one thing we know is that we're always going to pass through X bar and Y bar. What is X bar and Y bar? X bar is the average of the observed X values, and Y bar is the average of the observed Y values. So I'm going to just tell myself X bar, Y bar, and then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say this equals, how nice of Google Sheets to know the average of the column above me. I'm going to hit enter. And again, I'm going to say this equals the average. And again, Google Sheets has an idea of what I want. So how can I tell? Well, what I can do is I can say, we're going to do a check. And here we go. I'm going to say that this, I'm going to tell myself I need 9 point. Maybe I'm just going to write the equation down over here. So it's 25.3 x, I should remind myself to do times x, plus 353. That's what the equation is at. So we're going to plug in 9.45 and see if we get close to 592.5. So 25.3 times, and I'm just gonna, I forgot to tell it equals, I want it to do work. So 25.3 times, I'm gonna click on that cell, and then plus 353. I got pretty close. This is gonna round to 592.1. 592.5. So obviously it's not perfect because this is rounded, but that's pretty good. So I'm gonna say it's not bad. You might want to round out one or two more digits on each, 1 or 2 more significant digits on each to get a better going through that point. Okay. The next thing that we're gonna do, and this is this again, is just to give us an idea of where can we round out. And so here's one of the downfalls of doing it this way, is that my trend line on here, I can't make it go out more significant digits. So we're going to see when we do XL minor, we're going to have it go out many significant digits. Okay, next thing we want to do is find the residuals. So to find the residuals, we need to first find the expected value. So remember, these are the observed values, and these are our expected values. These are the Y hats for each Y. And the residual is just the difference between the two. It's the error that the expected value is created or creates. All right, so we're going to say that this equals, and again, we're just going to use that formula, 25.3 times, I want to use my observed X value, plus 353. And hit enter. So this gives me the expected, what the equation is expecting to have happen for 4 hours of studying. It's expecting you to get a 454.2 on your SAT. This person got a 390. So we're going to just click down. So I just got that little highlight and I double clicked, and since it's set up nicely, it knew what I was looking for. Oh, it even went an extra one. We don't want that. Just get rid of that one. It went down a little bit farther than it should have. Okay. Next, we're going to find the residuals. So we're going to say, hey, so the residual is equal to the observed value minus the expected value. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm not saying that backwards because I have a tendency to do that. Where's my paper? Yeah. Okay. Whew. Observed minus predicted. So here's our observed value. Here's our predicted. So you can see that the reason that your residual is negative is because it overshot. So it overshot by 64.2 points. So I'm just again going to double click and you can see it filled out nicely. So here are my residuals. This one, this positive one, it expected you to get a 606 with 10 hours of studying, but this person got a 650, so it undershot them by 44. Okay, so what are we going to do with all of these? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at them and we're going to build a histogram out of these residuals. Insert and chart. And our histogram is going to tell us whether or not it's relatively normally shaped. And so one thing I want to do is I want to go in and find my buckets. I want to make this an even amount so that my buckets are nice. So I want to go to the horizontal axis, and my minimum is negative 120, so I want to make my maximum positive 120. And then that's going to even it out better so that you can see that this is normally shaped. So make sure that your min and max are the same number. It's going to be, remember, you're going to have positive residuals and negative residuals, so you want to center this around 0 so that you can see if it actually is showing up normally shaped. So it is. That's for the amount of data that we have, that's really a very beautifully normally shaped histogram. So there's our beautiful normally shaped residual or histogram of residuals. So this means, yes, this is good for a linear piece of data. So we do know that this one, so this particular math score, 22 and 790, where are we? Here we go. So this person is an outlier in our data, in the sense that they're, or an influencer, I guess I should say. So one thing that we can do is to see how big of an influencer they are, we can take a look, we can hit delete, and then we can see how much that changed. So I'm going to undo it. I just went from 25.3 for my slope to 30.5 with my slope. So that is a pretty big difference. We can take a look at our residuals. Interestingly, that does change. I bet that changes this though. I should probably go from 72 to, I should probably go from like 80 to 80 or something, which is why this again looks different. Undo. So that is a consideration. However, remember, you can't just take out a data point. It is mostly just for you to write up about that there was a student who did significantly more hours than other people, but they and so they're changing the scores. So maybe that's letting us know that maybe this is showing us, hey, this is putting a cap on the range because it seems like this person really didn't do much better. So maybe this is only a good indicator for within 17 hours worth of studying, from 0 to 17 hours, or from 15 to 0 hours. So maybe that's what we can take away from this particular influencer. So you want to take that sort of stuff away. So are there outliers? So we have this. The other thing that we can do is we can look at S. So creating S in this form is a little bit involved and a little bit of a pain in the butt, because you have to find, well, actually it's not that bad. So you have to find the SSE, which is taking all of these numbers, squaring them all, adding them together. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. You basically need one more line over to square all your residuals and then get them together. And then you can compare your 2 times S against each one. Instead, we're going to look at that in terms of Excel minor because it's much easier in there. So that's it for this video. I hope it was informative for you to